Hi guys, it has been a while since my last video, and today I wanted to give an update on where things stand with me, as well as offer, as we're going into this last quarter of 2025, some hopefully inspiration for you to maybe reevaluate where you started this year and where you hope to end this year, and help maybe get back on track if need be, or give grace where grace needs to be given, or celebrate the wins. So, starting from the beginning of what has been going on, so much has been going on since my last video. I have been traveling a lot. I got sick. I created my website for my business. I haven't officially launched anything yet, but I am actively working with clients, and I've got a 12-week program that I'll be rolling out to help women who are on a weight loss journey, or beginning a weight loss journey, or even have completed a weight loss journey, on how to keep that weight off, how to keep that weight off for good. So it's not necessarily a program that is going to teach women how to lose weight, because I believe, for the most part, if you are a woman who has struggled with weight loss, you know what your body responds to. Now, as we age, certainly those things change, but even still, we are very in tune with our bodies from a physical standpoint. We know what foods impact us and what foods don't, even when it, like, on paper, doesn't make sense. So I don't necessarily think there's any one correct way to lose weight, because even when women are losing weight the correct way, and I'm doing air quotes, so what would be correct? Again, it's so individualized, but one common thought would be, currently in today's times, high protein, low carbs. Eat two methodologies, two schools of thoughts. Eat, a big meal in the morning, a medium meal in the afternoon, a small meal at night, and a couple of snacks in between. Try to get in, 100 plus grams of protein, keep your carbs low, drink a lot of water, and move your body, right? That was a very popular thought pattern around weight loss. I'm not going to say that doesn't work, because I think for a lot of women that does work. I am not one of the women that works for. For me, it's an intermittent fasting that works for me. Eat 2 meals a day. Again, I do try to keep my protein up. It's not something I hyper focus on. But I do try to keep my sugar content low. I don't really worry necessarily about carbs as much, because I don't find that carbs really impact me as much. But I do try to keep my sugar intake low, so that, carbs can be sugar. So there is a fine line there. So I worry more about sugar content than I do whether or not I'm eating pasta or a piece of bread. If it's a high protein piece of bread, it's a little different. So, for me, I know what works there. Let's say that women just want to use the weight loss drugs from the get-go to lose their weight. Who's to say there's anything wrong with that? That's not for you or I to choose for an individual. So, taking all of those factors out. Some people like the carnivore diet. Some people are vegan. Some people are vegetarian. Some people do the Mediterranean diet. Some people do a keto-based diet. Some people do intermittent fasting. Some people do the 1 meal a day approach. Some people do the a week fast a week, 3 weeks on, 1 week off. It's so much. I'm not here to tell you how you should lose weight. Now, can I give advice? I absolutely can. I have tried everything. I've had everything work at one point in my life. Do I have maybe a biased approach with intermittent fasting and that approach? Yes, I probably do, but I certainly am not here to feed that to anybody or push that down anybody's throat to say this is how you lose weight, or you should be on the weight loss drugs, or you shouldn't be on the weight loss drugs. My role through this program is to help women see how their weight is the manifestation of the outer manifestation of the inner, I'm trying to, like, the word, the inner dysregulation that is happening. So when we are out of alignment from an internal standpoint, that is going to manifest on the external. So if you've ever read the book, The Body Keeps the Score, or heard that concept, you know, when your right hip is hurting, there is definitely maybe a father wound there, or there is some abuse, or there is something masculine going on in your world that is out of alignment. On your left hip, it's going to be something female related when you're starting to have those pains. So maybe it's a mother wound, maybe it's a friend wound, a sister wound, maybe it's something internal with you. There's something on the feminine that is being shoved down and pushed down. And I think most women, if they were just to look themselves in the eye and be honest, would say their compartments where they have put all the little things they don't feel like they're ready to address, or maybe they've forgotten about because they put it there a long time ago and it's just lived there and it hasn't been a problem. So why go open it up and make it a problem? But the reality is, just because it's hidden doesn't mean it's not an issue for you. It doesn't mean it's not going to have its voice at some point. So for me, my weight loss, or my weight issues, were absolutely the mask I wore to hide the wounds I carried. And I never could have lost that weight for good had I not gone and done the healing and the work on those wounds that I had buried. Because what I found, and this isn't the case for everybody, we all wear masks differently, but what I found was that my weight loss, or my weight, I keep saying weight loss, through my weight loss, I found this, that my weight was actually the mask that kept me safe. I didn't realize it. I thought I resented my weight. I thought I didn't like being overweight. But what I loved about being overweight was my ability to hide in plain sight. Because I could control the narrative when I was overweight. If you didn't like me, it was because I was this loud, funny, like, not funny, but like I thought I was, right? I was over the top. I was obnoxious. I was the funny fat friend. I was invisible when I needed to be because, you know, it's not comfortable being around somebody that big. And so you tend to ignore them or minimize them or not see them as intelligent or as good as you. You know, there is stigma involved in having that much weight. But there was safety for me in that because it meant people had very low expectations of me. People were surprised when I was smart. People were surprised when I was insightful. And I could pull that out when I needed to, but I could also keep that shoved in when I didn't want to be seen. So it was very easy for me to hide behind that weight. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's what I was doing, and I certainly didn't know why I was doing it. And then when I didn't have that weight anymore, and people were looking at me and talking to me, like without me initiating it, and people were staring at me. And I was like, why are they doing that? And it was because I had a different look. I, maybe to certain people, was seen as attractive or striking. You know, my hair, especially when it was longer, being so gray and so white, with my blue eyes, it's especially at my age, it's more common now because people are dyeing their hair to look like this. But, you know, in the beginning, that wasn't the case, and it would get attention, where before, when I was fat, it didn't get attention because my weight overshadowed that. And then, sometimes my very loud, big personality overshadowed everything else. And you either loved me or you hated me, but I could control that narrative. Once I lost the weight and you were seeing me, I didn't have anything to hide behind, nor did I want to anymore, because as I lost the weight, I realized it was exhausting. It was exhausting showing up in this fake persona that wasn't me. It had been me for so long, I didn't realize it wasn't until I didn't need it anymore. And I was like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that funny, obnoxious fat friend anymore. I don't want to be the woman who says the mean thing, just to get a laugh. I don't want to be the woman who says the thing nobody wants to say, even though it's rude or offensive or controversial. I don't want to be that person. That's how I survived as a fat, very fat, obese woman. I don't feel authentic in that. And so as I started to shift my personality and I went more towards that, I still have a big personality, don't get me wrong, but I went more towards the balance of my introvert and my extrovert, because I am pretty much dead even in those two places. And sometimes the extrovert comes out and sometimes the introvert needs their time. And I was so busy operating in that hyper extroverted place, and that's what everybody expected from me. It was very performative, but it was my mask, and it kept me safe because I was afraid if you saw the real me, you wouldn't like me. You would reject me. And that, as I did the work, I realized was rooted in multiple moments in my life where that had been the reality. Now, the reasons why don't really matter in this video. They matter to me, but that was the case. And so we adapt for survival. And so I found a way. I found a way to control and to not get hurt and to not have to deal with the feelings of shame if my light shined a little too bright and it drowned out somebody else's, or the fear of what that would do, or the fear of living up to my potential. And what did that mean? Or the fear of being pretty. And what rejection would that cause me? The fear of having a good body, and how would that be sexualized in a world where that didn't feel safe to me? There were so many things my fat hid that when I didn't have that layer, when my fat suit was off, all I wanted was to put it back on. All I wanted was to put it back on, because I realized the safety in not being seen unless I controlled when you saw me, versus walking into a room and being seen right away and having nowhere to hide. And until I did the work to make peace with that, to find gratitude, to find forgiveness, to find the rage, the anger, the disappointment, the fear, the sadness, all of the things. Until I did that work, I would never, ever keep that weight off for good. I wouldn't. And I knew that. And that's the work I want to do with you. Not you necessarily, but with women, through the program I'm rolling out in January that I've been working on building, called the Phoenix Path. And it literally is called the Phoenix Path because I, in my journey, felt like I burned it to the ground so many different times, only to rise again, to burn it all back down again. Because as soon as I thought I had one performative part of my personality healed, or at least seen and given its voice and it's nurturing, the next one would pop right up, because that one was just hiding another one that was buried even further down. And that work is hard work. That work is lonely work. And it's not something you do in a day. And it's hard to do alone because you've got to figure it out. Like, I had all these synchronicities happening for me. I was so guided, protected through that journey. And I really believe that was so that I could do what I'm doing now and have these very real, very authentic conversations. I'm not for everybody. You know, I am spiritual. I am a Reformed Christian, if you will. Does that mean I don't believe in Jesus? Oh my gosh, no, I do. But does that mean I believe in religion? I absolutely have some thoughts. So the way my spirituality looks today has cost me relationships, because I have turned from a very traditional Abrahamic religious upbringing and 25 years of relationships as an adult. I've turned from that into a much broader understanding of what God, the universe, spirituality is in each of us. But my life is a reflection of that belief system. The synchronicities, the people that have been put in my path, the moments that have proven to me over and over and over and over again that I'm on the right path. That's where I find my peace. So again, I'm not for everybody, and I may not be for you, but if any of this is sparking like, oh, then check it out when it's time. It's not time yet. I'm not rolling it out for another month, maybe 6 weeks, to start in January. But with my first group, I've done some trials, but nothing official. But, you know, that's coming. That's just to say that's coming. And then, so I've been building that and working on that. And I have created something called the Sacred Soul Map, which the Sacred Soul Map, I've gotten astrology trained and Reiki trained and numerology trained, and I am being trained in human design. And it's bringing all of these components and gene keys. It's bringing all of these components of who we are at a core level, who we are based on all of the things we designed for our life, for this life, and recognizing those, bringing those to light, working with women to help them see, here's your purpose, here's your wound, here's your karmic patterns, here are the things keeping you stuck, here's your way out, here is your way out, and even more, here's your permission to just give yourself grace, because this is who you came here to be. All of it. All of it. The good, the bad, the ugly. This is who you came here to be. Claim it. Own it. Stop the shame cycle. Stop stuffing yourself with food to avoid the design of you, because the beauty is in our imperfections. It's in the flaws. It is in our pain. It is our medicine, and that is what my Sacred Soul Map does for women and men. I do it for men also, and that's just taken off. So I haven't even been promoting it, and I've got a wait list. So that's been happening. So I just haven't been able to do these videos because I've been developing this and I've been creating this, and now I'm taking it to the next level. Can we use the Sacred Soul Map to look at our triggers so that we can identify the things that maybe get us reaching mindlessly for that self-soothing through whatever, you know, favorite food or pattern of behavior it is for us? And can we recognize through these methods when those triggers are coming? Because it can be predictive. It can show that in a couple of weeks, things are going to be aligned in a way that the energy could be knocking on those little compartments of yours saying, it's going to get sticky here. We better stock up on Oreos. And you may not recognize that's what's happening consciously, but subconsciously, you are feeling that energy happen and you're feeling that energy build. And you are moving into those moments where it gets a little spicy and a little triggery. And if you know they're coming, even if maybe they don't, if you can just prepare in advance and set yourself up for success, that's how you keep the weight off for good. You know, that's how you do it. That is how it's a little more gentle. Does that mean it's not going to still require a lot of work? No, but it doesn't have to be so hard, and it certainly doesn't have to be lonely. And that's what the Phoenix Path is. That's what the Sacred Soul Map starts in a woman's life. And it's really beautiful to watch the process, to see women just saying, I feel seen in a way I've never felt seen. And, you know, when I do it for my friends, I'm like, look, there's going to be nowhere to hide. Are you comfortable with that with me? We are friends. And I'm going to see you at a level you haven't had yourself be seen. Are you okay with that? And I always want to like say that criteria because it's very transparent, and we are a species that loves to hide. And there's just a level of authenticity you get to that feels uncomfortable because of how unfamiliar it is. So I've been building that. I've been developing that. I've been so blessed to just have so many women I've been working with on that, which has kept me really, really busy. And then on top of that, I've been so blessed to be able to do something I kind of am doing for myself called the Wildly Sacred Table. And it is a monthly dinner I've been hosting that is around the full moon, where women come together in my home and we have a very transparent, very heart-to-heart dinner where we sit down. It's very nourishing. It's themed. Like our last one was with the harvest full moon, so it was a harvest theme. And we really talked about what is it that a year ago we were planting the seeds that we wanted to harvest now at this time period in our lives, and how did that play out, and what did that look like? And, you know, as we are looking at moving into the next year, what is it now that we need to let go of so that we can be planning what it is we want to harvest in another year? And it's just, we have these conversations and they're beautiful and they're so nourishing for your soul. And then we, after dinner, which is like so lovely, we have cocktails. I have somebody that serves. They're beautiful. Then we move out to the backyard and we just sit together under the full moon and we take it really deep. And we have reflection questions and we've got journal questions. And I have somebody who creates custom candles for the event. So we have those to hold the energy for us after the event. This last one, we had like a 5-day meditation we did. We light our candle. We do this 5-day meditation where we were taking it so deep. And then we're, you know, in this community where we're sharing with each other, and it's just beautiful. It's really beautiful. And that has been such a gift. And I do that once a month, and that's been sold out, and with a wait list every month. And so it's been a lot. And then what I'm actively working on right now that I hope to have rolled out beginning of November, we'll say. I was trying for November 1st, but we're traveling a lot. So we'll just say beginning of November. Gentle kindness is something called the Wildly Sacred You. And the Wildly Sacred You is an online community, very inexpensive, but it costs me to run it and it costs me time to do the things. So there is a small fee for it. I am playing with what it's going to be, but right now it won't be any more than $25 a month. But women will come together in community in the Wildly Sacred You. And essentially what we do at the Wildly Sacred Table will be contained in this online community where it's a safe place for women who are wanting to shed their mask. It will be probably very heavily weight loss driven. It won't be, that won't be the focus, won't be on weight loss, but it will come up, and it will be a focus. Like, what are the compartments? What are the things? What are the masks we're wearing? And we will have a book club housed in a monthly book club housed inside there, monthly challenges, a monthly call around one of the moon cycles, probably the new moon, since I do the full moon thing in person, where we will all come together on a call and, have a theme that we're working with and a focus. There will be weekly themes that I will put out at the beginning of each week, and then little journal prompts throughout the week, very small, and it's all voluntary how much you participate. So whatever resonates. I'm trying to have multiple different things because everybody's at different levels. Playlists. There'll be, little courses, free courses in there on, how you set yourself up. How do you set up the best habits? How do you set yourself up for success? What are some of the tips for weight loss in terms of nervous system regulation, whether it's meditation, taking a walk in nature, breath work, yoga, those kind of things that will get your somatic work done. So all of these things will be housed inside this community for $25 a month. This is for the people who either don't have the time or the money for the bigger program, which is going to have one-on-one coaching, and it's going to have a group container of just 4 women per pod, and we are journeying together with monthly calls. And I'm doing, in the Phoenix Path, that'll be a Monday, Wednesday, Friday transmission that everybody gets, that really keeps you in that energy of the focus of the theme of the weeks. But we're going to do that on a monthly scale inside the online community. So I'm interested, if you're watching this still, if you've made it this far, if that's something that sounds interesting to you, and what would you like to see inside that community, just hit it in the comments, because I am really interested in your thoughts on that. So that I'm hoping to roll out mid-November and get that really up and running. I'm working on putting together a newsletter. So my point in this 27 minutes of telling you all about me and what I'm working on is that these were all dreams. These were all things I was starting to conceptualize a year ago. I remember I did a silent retreat. My neighbor wanted me to house sit and dog sit for her while she was on a trip. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take this as a silent retreat. It's just next door. But, my husband was busy for the most part that week. And I was like, you know what? I'm unplugging during this week that I'm over there. And it was just 3 days that I did this. But I'm going to unplug, and I am really just going to listen to myself. Like, what do I want? I know I want to help women, but how do I want that to look? And all of these things, these were the seeds that I started to birth. And then as the year went on and I worked through the manifestation techniques of just really sitting with that in meditation and doing the breath work and releasing the things I needed to release so that I could receive the insights I needed to receive to know, what was the best avenue, the best course of action, when was the right timing, all of those things. These were little baby dreams, hints, glimmers a year ago that are created. That website's out there. These programs are listed. I just now have to sort of massage them and get them ready and figure out the social media piece on how do I roll it out and how do I get it into the hands of the right people, and, trusting and surrendering to the divine timing of all of it. Those are all things that I never thought I would have today. And when I look at the community of women in my life, when I look at that wildly sacred table, and it's pretty much the same women every month, and I think, I didn't know any of you a year ago. How did I go from this lonely place of shedding this performative personality, this performative persona I had had for so long, and with that losing some relationships, as I shifted who I was from a spiritual perspective, I lost people. As I shifted who I was in terms of what I was willing to be for other people, the boundaries I had to put into place, for my own self-love, I lost people. Because at the end of the day, I changed the rules. And they weren't changing with me. They were comfortable with who they were. They felt good about their authenticity, but I knew I had not been authentic, not for them, but for myself. And as I started to become this authentic person, I was this different person, and that wasn't the person necessarily they still wanted, or that they wanted. They wanted the old me, the performative me. They didn't know I was being performative. They just liked that part of that version of me. And this other version of me was a stranger. So through no fault of anybody's, I got to a place where I didn't have that community, and I was alone, and I was actively, asking, let the right people come into place, and then they did. And then it just evolved, and it became this really beautiful community I'm in now. I'm in, 4 different book clubs. I'm in 2 different spiritual clubs. I've got, a Power of 8 group we do where we're sending beautiful healing intention to people. I've got a Reiki community I'm in. I've got an online community that, women that are based in Long Island that I have met now, but I didn't in the beginning. And I just think my life is so full. There's so many beautiful moments that have happened over this last year that a year ago in that silent retreat, I couldn't even imagine, because I couldn't see it, because I had never seen it. And I had to surrender what I wanted to the universe. And then I had to let God, the universe, source, I had to let that just get filled in based on the frequency I was raising my vibration to, through my meditation, through my self-care, through giving back to my community, through leading from my heart, from a place of love and gratitude and forgiveness, instead of anger and bitterness and fear and victimhood. That changed everything. And that's what I want to share. Like, I've been so busy these last few months creating all the things I was just starting to dream of a year ago. And if I can do that, I was in a place where I'm not gonna lie, there were moments I didn't want to be here anymore. And I wasn't sure that I would be. That's how desperate I felt at times during my journey. Not since I started to lose weight, but before my weight loss journey. And you never would have known that, because I was the funny fat friend. I was pretending every waking moment and most of in my dreams. And it felt so good to stop pretending, even though it was hard. And I just wanted to share that, because I want that to be a message of hope. Because I was sitting here and I was doing some work, and I was like, I can't believe how good life is. I can't believe how at peace I am. I can't believe how happy I am. One of my groups I'm in, one of my book clubs, we have a running thread, and the women are amazing dreamers, prophetic dreams, just so great with their dreams, psychic dreams, visitation dreams, like such great dreams. And I don't dream anymore. Like, I do dream, but I don't remember my dreams. And that's something I miss. And I was saying that in the thing, and one of the women said, Peggy, maybe you aren't having such lucid, active dreaming because you're at such peace now in your life that you have less that you're working through subconsciously. And I don't know anything about dreams. I don't know if that's true or not. But when she said it, it rang true for me, and in the most beautiful way. And I thought, wow, yeah, it's true. Even when things are going wrong, I know it's for my highest good. I consciously know that. It doesn't mean I'm not reactive in the moment. It doesn't mean I don't go experience the emotions and all the things. But in the back of my mind and my heart, and this, what I call this figure eight, this infinity that is my heart to my head, and kind of keeping that throat and heart and everything in alignment with my third eye, that I know, even in that it's all working together for my highest good. And there's a lesson that I will be grateful for, even in the painful moment. So there's just this calm peace I feel that even 6 months ago, I didn't feel. And there's so much hope in that. And that's hope I want for you, because as you go on your weight loss journey, you will lose this weight. You will. 1% better every day, you will lose the weight. The important thing is losing it for good. So you don't keep this yo-yo, this shame cycle of taking off 10, putting on 15, taking off 15, putting on 20. That's where the manifestation of the lack of balance internally and lack of alignment internally is showing up on the outside. So I just wanted to share what I hope to be a story of hope for you. And I would love for you to join the Wildly Sacred You. I may offer the first month half price. I don't know. I'm working through it. It's going to be an app, the whole 9 yards. That'll be coming out. If you're interested, hit the comments, let me know, and I can make sure I get that information to you as it starts to roll. That's my next thing that I'm going to roll. And, I'd love to have the community start out full and vibrant, and just women creating this really safe place for other women. And, selfishly, I want it to feel that connectivity right away. I want the value to be there for everyone right away. So the more people that can come in right away, the better, obviously, because then we create that community together. So if you're interested in that, I would love to put you on a wait list for when that rolls out. And I think it's going to be really special. If our Wildly Sacred table is anything to show for it, I think it will be really special. But this has been a long message. I'm going to let it go. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your comments, and we will go from there. I hope you are all harvesting all of the best dreams. See you again.